All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, let's get started. All right, for today, February 14th, Valentine's Day, we have the following. We've got at 4 p.m., we have FOMC member Barr speaking, but that'll, of course, be after market close or at market close, so that won't have, or we don't expect it will have any impact during the market session, since in theory, what will be said will not be published before then. So, no expectation of market impact from this. Okay, so that's that. Now, as far as the market itself is concerned, let's take a quick look here. All right, so the NASDAQ QQQ, basically neutral. Yesterday it was down, it was up, but open and closed close to the same price points, so not much happened there. Although pre-market we have a strong gap higher in the market. As I mentioned, just to go over this again, we don't have any major economic data which came out pre-market, so therefore this is the market up for its own reasons, I guess. So there we are. Now, as far as what was moving yesterday, let's take a look at some of the symbols that experienced some good movement. Not a lot of them, by the way, but mostly bearish. So first up, I'll go with Mondelez, which was able to reach target number 2 to the downside of 72.66, then went down much lower, reaching a low of 71.58. eBay was bearish as well, able to reach its target number 2 eventually. Target number 2 to the downside was 41.14. Then you had Gilead, which was able to reach its target number 2 to the downside of 73.12. Apple was able to reach its target number 1 to the downside in this move here, but as soon as it got there, it quickly reversed. So it did reach target number 1 of 184.19. The stock went about 1 penny lower than that, and then it bounced back. And then, other than that, that was pretty much it. We had some other stocks we looked at, but none of them actually hit any targets. So, looking at the pre-market, we have quite a few stocks on the radar. Let me just start off with Lyft, since it had earnings, and I'll go over what's important about this. So, Lyft had earnings yesterday afternoon, and the stock was up very sharply. And I'm going to modify this chart for a second so you can see exactly what this looked like. But let me make this to 8 p.m. Okay. All right. Now this big spike there, and then this sell-off. Now what happened there? So when I was looking at my data, I saw that the stock was up tremendously higher. And notice the stock was at about $12 and change, and it traded all the way up to just above $20. Now, of course, you see a move that big, something must have happened. So what had happened is in the earnings report, there was a typo. They said that they expected, I believe they said they expected their revenue to grow by 500%, but the actual, or actually, no, they said, sorry, 5%, but they actually meant 0.5% or something like that. So the point is, whatever the number was, I forget what the actual number was, but they put 500 basis points instead of 50 basis points. And as a result, the stock went up tremendously. Then once they got on the earnings call and corrected that, then it dropped sharply. So all the people who are buying through here, right, who were probably algorithms just reading that news, they were wrong, and then it sold off. And here we are now, but it's still up 22% on 3.5 million shares, roughly trading above $1 per share, of course. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar. But that's a great example of why information is king. So once the information came out, the stock moved, and then once it was corrected, the stock moved accordingly. So once again, proving what we already know. All right, now moving through the rest of the list, we've got BGLC. Let's take a look at that. All right, that's currently down 17.83% on 1.2 million shares. It's $1 per share at least. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar as well, BGLC. Next up, we have BITF, which is presently up 12.79% on 1.5 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar. Next up, we have BLNK, which is currently up 17% on 1.3 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to the pre-market radar. Next up, we have BREA, which is presently trading up 190% on 8.6 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So we will add BREA to our pre-market radar. Next up, we have CCTG, which looks a lot like Lifted. Massive move up and then it sells off. Currently up 18.89%, almost 3 million shares traded, and it's at least $1 per share. So we will add CCTG to the pre-market radar. Next up, we have CLSK, which is presently up 14.79%, 2.1 million shares traded. It's at least $1 per share. We will add that CLSK to the pre-market radar. Next up, we've got CNEY, which is presently up 22.63% on 3.6 million shares. It is at least $1 per share. That will be added to the pre-market radar, CNEY. Next up, we have COGT, presently up almost 49%, 1.8 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. We will add COGT to the pre-market radar. Next up, we got DTSS, presently up 406% on 16 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. Very active now in the pre-market. That will definitely be added to the list. All right, next up we have Robinhood, which had its earnings and is up 14.86%, 2.1 million shares. Of course, it's above $1 per share. So Robinhood, HOOD, will be added to the radar. Next up, we'll look at Mara, currently up 13.22%, 4.8 million shares, trading at least at $1. It's over $1 per share, obviously. So we'll add that to our pre-market list. Let's see if Riot is up as well. Yes, it is up 10.23%, 1.5 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So Riot will be added to the pre-market radar. We have a lot of stocks here. SNTG up about 26% on 1.8 million shares. It is at least $1 per share as well. So SNTG is now added to the list. Next up, we have TAOP, presently up 88.6%, 5.9 million shares traded, at least $1 per share. All qualified, so we'll add TAOP to the pre-market radar. Next up, we have Uber. I'm sorry, I forgot Uber's a NYSE, never mind. But that's up because of Lyft, but that's not tradable for us since it's an NYSE stock. And then we have Wolf, presently up 13.24%, 1.8 million shares trading at least $1 per share. So we'll have that on the pre-market radar, WULF. I can take a look at NVIDIA. Let's see. It's only up 1.57%, so not enough. Now, Upstart actually does qualify. It's down about 15% on 1.1 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So UPST will be added to our pre-market radar as well. All right, so if you folks see any other stocks meeting our 4 criteria, must be a NASDAQ listed stock, must be trading at least $1 per share. That has to be in the current pre-market, that price. Also, it must have achieved at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume and must have at least a 6% price change, positive or negative. If you see any stocks that meet those 4 criteria, let me know in the chat, other than the ones I just mentioned. Those are the ones I mentioned. It's a long list, but here they are. All right, so if you folks see any other stocks that meet our 4 criteria, other than the ones already mentioned, let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look and see what we got. IREN, let me take a look at that. That is up 19.9%, 1.2 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. UPST is in there, so we'll add IREN. All right, so we'll wrap up for today, folks. Please be sure to hit the like button. We have more than 11 people watching, but we have 11 likes, so please go ahead and hit the like button. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you get regular updates. Other than that, for anyone who's watching this on a replay, if you're not familiar with our company, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. You will see a link in the description to this video. Other than that, folks, have a great trading session, and I'll see everybody else in the coaching room in about 27 minutes, okay? Take care, folks. Did I mention Coinbase? No, I didn't. That's not enough volume, not enough pre-market volume, so that's why it's not there. All right, folks, have a good one. I'll see you folks tomorrow. Or see you folks for tomorrow's Premarket Pulse. Take care.